pleasure to introduce to you Ms. Donna Shannon. Donna is a successful entrepreneur and professional career coach who assists small business owners and job seekers in the art of managing and promoting themselves on LinkedIn. Donna has written 2 books, How to Get a Job Without Going Crazy and LinkedIn Essentials. Ms. Shannon is also the owner of Personal Touch Career Services, where she has presented the workshops across the country, including Denver, Los Angeles, San Francisco, Orlando, and Dallas, and continues to work with individual clients across the country. Without any further ado, Donna, take it away.
All right. Thank you very much, Michael. I appreciate that great introduction and having me here to speak on this webinar. As Michael did mention, I do have my own company, the Personal Touch Career Services. I'll turn on my webcam for just a moment. It's always nice to have a face with the voice, right? So that's me. It's still chilly here in Denver, so that's why I'm all warmed up. But probably not going to keep the webcam on all through the presentation today. I just want to give you a quick glance of who I am. And we're going to be doing some live streaming with LinkedIn today, so I don't want to slow down the signal too much. But my company, the Personal Touch Career Services, what we do, our mission is to really help job seekers with all levels for their employment goals. We do practical, solid advice and services. So this may be resume writing, interview coaching, setting up a job search strategy, and we do group classes as well. My own personal background was I was in HR for about 8 years, mostly as the corporate recruiter. So that's the person inside the company, placing all the jobs, collecting all the resumes, and cutting all the candidates. So I was that nasty, grumpy recruiter who never let your stuff get through to the hiring managers. That was me. But in 2004, I turned from the dark side because, honestly, I was just tired of seeing so many qualified applicants getting cut because they didn't understand how the job searching process worked. And that's when I started teaching these classes. So my book, Get a Job Without Going Crazy, it is on Amazon as well as available here in Denver and on my website as well. Now, most recently, we've started to add some new services. Whoops, sorry, I hit the wrong button again. In addition to our LinkedIn classes and webinars, these are perfect both for job seekers and business owners. We do offer recruitment services specifically for the luxury market. So if you're looking for like an executive personal assistant, a household manager, something to help you really manage your lifestyle, just let me know and we'd be happy to help you out. So what we're here to talk about today is the major changes that have happened on LinkedIn for 2016. Every year, LinkedIn rolls out some new changes. Usually the major changes happen in January. Some of these they've been teasing and implementing over the past couple of months, so if things have looked a little bit weird every time you're logging into LinkedIn, this is why. So some of the areas that they've really decided to pick on in the past few months is, number one, the home screen has changed quite a bit. Second is the publishing and managing of posts. Now, posts, that doesn't mean like your status updates or the way you're making discussions within the groups themselves. These would be like publishing articles on LinkedIn. And if you've never done that before, I'll show you what that is and what it looks like. Finally, you may have noticed that the inbox and the way the messages behave has changed quite a bit. You may be even wondering, where did all of your invitations that you receive, as well as the ones that you give, where have all those gone? Because that's changed. And of course, the massive change has been in the groups themselves. And this is not just in the appearance. If you've been in your groups lately, you'll know that they look quite different. It also is in the operation, how you get invited into these groups, and even how you post within these groups. So there's some subtle changes as well that may not be so obvious. So what's happening is LinkedIn is trying to get their website to behave more like the app. So they're trying to drive more traffic to the app, make the look consistent between them. So as a result, they're trying to streamline and simplify these communications. But if you don't know what you're looking for, You might want to go ahead and smash your computer because it can be really frustrating, right? Where did all the cool stuff you used to know how to do, where did it all go? Well, I'm going to show you because it hasn't completely disappeared, but it is hiding. All right? Another thing people ask me is they used to get their group messages and now they don't know where they are, or they're not seeing all of them. So what you're looking at here, this is a screenshot of my own Outlook, right? So this was the message I got from my group. So as you can see here, it says link to Denver. So that's the name of the group that I'm a member of. Then this is the subject line. 2015 was a fabulous year for some of us. So that is the title of the first discussion in this group. However, the rest of this message continues. If you've seen one of these, you probably know the next thing you see on this is like an advertising for LinkedIn itself. And nobody ever scrolls any further than that. If you continue to scroll down on this message, you will see the rest of the discussions that have been forwarded to you from this group. But here's what's really insidious. This may not be messages only from this group. So this is this streamlining of the communications. So if you scroll down past that advertisement, you may see messages from all of your groups or just highlighted messages from some of your groups. So if you're used to just clicking on a message from your particular group to see the highlights and then go and click into the group to see the rest of the discussion, you may be missing everything else that's going on in your other groups because you didn't take the few seconds to scroll down. I know it's sneaky, it's not obvious, and you got to look out for it. So those are some of the things that I'm going to show you today. So as I promised, we're going to click over here and actually get into LinkedIn itself. So what you're looking at, this is my home screen on LinkedIn. So I told you there's going to be some changes in this as well. So let me just get this to move a little bit. So what you're looking at here, part of this that people don't understand is the way this block has changed, because it used to be just your name and share an update, right? So you can still share an update, so that's just like on Facebook. We're going to write in whatever's on our mind and it'll go out to our activity feed. We could post a video or a picture, excuse me, and I click on that and I can load one up. I can publish a post. So this is one of the pieces that's a little bit new. You can actually go right here to publish your posts. The other thing that's new with your home screen is a lot of your metrics are right here. So it's no secret that LinkedIn has been promoting for well over a year the reverse stalking. You can take a look at who's viewed you. Now there's just been loaded up onto your dashboard, so you can take a look at that right from here. Now I have a paid account, which means I can see everybody who's looked at my profile for the last 90 days. However, it's not absolute, because we can see somebody here at Colorado State looked at me, this real estate broker, and then there's two completely anonymous people. That's because they have chosen to change their privacy settings. And even with my paid account, I cannot see them. So that's not new, it's just a little thing to be aware of. So if you have a free account, you're considering a paid one, you still won't be able to see everything. All right? The other thing there that's new is, see where it says 22 people have viewed my post in the last 7 days? So LinkedIn is doing a better job of telling us how our activity is being perceived and followed when we're on LinkedIn. So this is actually an article that I wrote and published on LinkedIn. So another way I can look at this too is if I scroll over here to where my profile is and I go to my updates, this area is a lot more robust than it used to be. So the recent activity here, this is all of my activity in all of my groups, in all my status updates and everything else. So here's this right here. I have a work anniversary today. I've been doing my company for 12 years. As you can see, I've gotten a lot of likes. I've gotten some comments about it. People are pretty jazzed. So that's cool. Here I can also see my published articles. So this is like all of them. If I take a look, here's my most recent one. Right? So I can come in here and I can see how many views and likes and comments, etc. Yes, it's a Star Wars parody. It's okay, I'm a nerd. So, about these posts. One way to promote yourself on LinkedIn is to publish posts and promote them within it. For some people, it may not be practical to go out and start your own blog, but you still want to establish your expertise. This is an ideal situation when you want to publish a post on LinkedIn. So I just click in here to publish the post itself. This is exactly where I would write my article. What I usually do is I write them offline, I copy and paste it from Word, so that way I can, do all my spell check and thesaurus and all the rest of my tools. And then when I go and post it here, it's very quick and easy. Always add an image. You're going to get better clicks and more people looking at your stuff if it has an image with it. Just make sure that you have the digital rights to use that image, because LinkedIn does police this some. You don't want to be caught in a copyright infringement. Now, coming back into the home screen with these, see where it says here, this is additional metrics beyond just who's viewed this post. So this here shows me everything on how my post is doing. So I actually published it, more than a week ago, so that's when we're getting most of our views. I can see who's looked at it. I've got the demographics, where they're located, where they're coming from, what their job titles are, and then who's responding. So I can actually take a look at who's been liking it, who's forwarded it, or who's made comments. So this gives me actually a lot of depth into what my readers like and what's getting the best responses. So for example, this one here had more views on it, but it's older, and that's why it doesn't have any recent activity on it. Okay? So those are some new metrics that we can dive into. If you're a numbers hound and you love to do the research kind of things, that's stuff accessible from our homepage. Also, when we go and look at the people who viewed our profile, there's something else new in here too. It's not actually new, it's been here a while, but it's kind of quiet and not everybody realizes that it's here. And that's how you rank in your profile views. So the first number I see here, it ranks me against professionals like me. So this is comparing me out of 95 other resume writers and career coaches. So I'm in the top 16% right now. So I'm normally in the top 10. You can tell I haven't been doing as many publishing articles or these kind of things, which I know drive my numbers to achieve more profile views. And in my case, the more profile views I have, the more business I tend to generate from LinkedIn. For a job seeker, obviously, that's the more interest you're going to get in your profile and the more potential jobs. There is another tab here as well, which says against my own connections. So I do rank at 8% out of these, but out of these 2,000 people, yes, I really do have over 2,000 first-degree connections. It's a mixed bag. So it's not as beneficial to me in my mind, because I want to know how I'm doing against my competitors, not necessarily against my friends. Okay? There's one more thing I want to show you from the home screen, and this is where it says 15 ways to keep in touch over on the right-hand side. So we've got Keith here, or Kenneth. I could hit the like, or I could hit comment. He's a guy who follows me, so I'm not really sure who he is, so I'm going to go ahead and skip his. Let's say, for example, this is someone I really know, so I'm going to say congratulations. And this person, yeah, I kind of know her, so I'll hit the like button. Now, this is an important thing to make note. Anytime you hit a like button versus writing actual words, you are not doing very much to promote yourself. All you are doing is promoting the reputation of the other person. Words are always more valuable than mouse clicks. It's really, really easy to just hit a like button, but again, that doesn't do anything. Like you saw for my own activity with my work anniversary. We'll come back, take a quick look at that, right? Every person who sent me an email so far saying congratulations and wrote a bit more, I got a personal email about that. But the like buttons, I didn't even get a notification. Honestly, I didn't even know I had that many until I looked at it right now. So that's why it's so important to take those few extra seconds, say actual words, rather than just clicking a mouse. All right? So those are some of the major changes with the home screen, just to let you know. By the way, if you want to see more ways to keep in touch with your network, this is not new, but if you roll over to your connections and click through it here, what's listed at the top, this is again all those same people who are having something happen in their lives, whether it's a birthday, they have a new job, it's a work anniversary, whatever the case may be. So you can manage a larger group from here, or you could just do the quick flip through on your home screen. Now, let's talk about the inbox, because it has changed drastically. So your inbox is up here where it says, you know, I have 964 messages. Yeah, that's a real number. But it also copies me in my email, Outlook. So sometimes I'll just respond right from there, so I don't have to come all the way back into LinkedIn to respond. But if I click on this doesn't look like an inbox anymore. This now looks and behaves very similar to how, guess what, Facebook operates, right? Because they want to make it this stream of conversation. So you can see here in this messages I have going between Nikki and Jacob, if I scroll up, it's got the full range of the conversation. Now, the other thing that's a little bit insidious about this, there are two people in this conversation besides myself. Anytime I hit reply, it's going to go back to everybody in the conversation stream. So you need to make sure that what you were saying, you want it to be seen by everybody in that conversation. By the way, there's another change here that's a really good example. It's universal on LinkedIn, by the way. On LinkedIn, anytime we see a downward triangle, like up here, if I look on the search bar, for example, up here at the top, there's the lines that mean a menu, and then there's a triangle right here. So anytime we see those triangles, those are our magic triangles on LinkedIn. They lead to additional menus, right? So if I click on that, this gives me all the other ways that I could search, like if I want to find a group and not just necessarily a person. They are now doing a new menu. See these three dots here? That serves the same function as the magic triangle. So if I click on that, here's where I have all the rest of the options of what I can do with this message. So if I want to add somebody, if I want to make it unread so it pops up in my mind to read it and reply to it again, I can send it to somebody else, or I can delete the whole thing. Why is that beneficial? Well, sometimes we will have a conversation with somebody that goes out a long ways back. Like here's a good one. Right? So this has from when we first connected in November, and she told me happy birthday in December, and today she likes my business. If I didn't want to see all that stuff anymore, I can just delete this. Yes. So now the next time that I talk to her, it's going to be fresh, and I'm not going to see that whole stream. Make sense? Cleans things up quite a bit, because I've had some of these that, you know, I've had conversations going with people for years, and when I'm sending them a quick message, I don't necessarily want to make it, you know, see everything in the world from all beginning of LinkedIn time. This circle here with the, that's how you type a new message. So I can just start writing the name of the person I want to send this to. Obviously, this is where I'm going to write my message. I can now attach a picture. That's new. I can attach a file. This smiley face thingy is, I am so sad to say, emoticons. I know. Actually, emojis. I don't believe that emojis are appropriate. And when I click it in there, it instantly goes to him. This is my assistant, so I don't mind sending him weird things like this. But if I were to send this in a professional capacity, I don't think I would ever use that. Again, it's LinkedIn is trying to behave more like Facebook and be more, quote, fun. All right. Another thing people are being frustrated with is, if you notice down here on the bottom where it says press enter to send, so that is the default setting. So if I was trying to type a message here for James, like, hi, James, no, I wanted that to be a new paragraph, not send the message. If I don't want it to do that, I need to check this off. Now I can type it like a regular paragraph, and then when I click enter, it goes to send. So I prefer to keep these communications on LinkedIn looking more like a professional email, and once you check that off, you're able to do it. All right? So that's one of the things that's changed a lot is the inbox. Now, the other thing that's changed a lot is the invitation management. It used to be we could find our previous invitations, ones that people have sent to us, ones we've sent to others. It was part of the inbox. Well, where did it go? It's not here, right? It's actually hiding under what used to be a different function. So if I come up to the top bar and I roll over where this shadow plus person is, that's where all my invitations are managed now. It used to be this was only for importing contacts from your external emails. Now it's where all of your invitations are managed. So if I click here where it says see all, this is going to show me all the invitations that I have pending. All right? So the X means I want to deny it. A check means yes, I will accept this. So where did the message go, right? I thought people could send me a message when they're trying to email me. And maybe you want to see if this person wrote something custom. 99% of the time people don't. I give them the benefit of the doubt because it's not always obvious on where to fill that in. But it's actually right here, the little quotes. So if I roll over that, that will show me the original message that this person sent, but the invitation. I do not have to automatically accept an invitation from anybody. I can actually email them back before I accept if I want to know some additional information. And that is this arrow right here. Quit rolling around. You can tell I'm not a Mac user. Those things frustrate me. So if I click on this, that's your reply button. Now I can send them a message and say, yeah, this particular person's in another country. I could say, I noticed in your X country, could you please tell me how I can help you? Or whatever the case may be. Not everybody's an open networker and they want to make sure they're connecting with quality connections. Okay? Another thing I hear from people is once they connect with somebody, it used to take you automatically to writing them a message back. So if I were to just click this, oh, she's gone. Where'd she go? Oh no, I have to go all the way back into my connections to find her and send her a message. No, it actually rolled up on here on top. So if I click this one, it only stays for a little while though. See where it says Brittany Reed is now on top here. So I can click through to here. Now I can send her a message. And I just say, hi Brittany. So, and I send that on its merry way. By the way, it's good practice to always send a message back when you connect with somebody, whether they accept your connection or whether they invited you. I have found that that is where I generate business. If I was a job seeker, that's where I'd be generating offers or at least making quality connections. I give people the benefit of the doubt because I know 99% of the emails I get or the invites I get from LinkedIn are that generic greeting. Nobody ever changes it. So I always email back to see what they want and how we can deepen the relationship. And then if they turn all creepy, like hit on me or something, I just unfriend them immediately. So back here and looking at the invitations. Well, where did all the invitations that I sent went? They're hiding here again. So we've got this over here where it says the pending invitations. We got our shadow people, and then there's a magic triangle, right? So if I click on that, I can see the invitations I've sent as well as the invitations I've blocked. So let's look at the sent ones. So these are all the ones that I've sent recently. And say, for example, I actually know that this Nikki, that's a dead account for her. That's a dead email. So I'm going to cancel that request. Yes. And then that will just be taken out of her queue to connect. So if you want to manage this, see how long things have been sitting out there, when is it time to let it go, because sometimes these lists can get old. That's just a good way to manage it. As far as blocking, if you've never blocked an invitation before, I only do it if it's really, really warranted. Like, for example, this case here, I blocked it because I don't want to see it anymore because it is obviously an advertisement. I actually blocked him and I did report him to LinkedIn. So I can still come back here and accept it if I change my mind and decide I suddenly need whatever product they're hawking, but I don't have to, and I won't see it anymore. Okay? So that's where you're managing all your invitations and how they now work. One last thing with this before we move on. With the people that you know down here, there's a few options. So you see where all these circles, the conjoined circles, these are all the people that you have in common. So if you wanted to ask one of them to make an introduction for you, you could do so from here in case you don't want to do just a cold thing. Now I'll warn you, if you hit the connect button right here, oh man, it just sent that generic greeting. So this is why I say I have sympathy for people who don't know how to change that. If you want to send a custom greeting to somebody, you need to go look at their profile first. Now when I hit connect, it's going to give me the option here. I can say how I know them, right? And now I can change this message. Blah, 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 say something brilliant, right? But I'm not really going to send that. So let's talk about where the biggest changes on LinkedIn for 2016 have happened. And this is going to be in our groups. So I get to my groups just through my interests. This is now my dashboard for my groups. This looks extremely different than it used to. This logo does nothing. This list here is for all my groups. The other thing that's a little bit frustrating with this is the listing of the groups used to match the way I have them on my LinkedIn profile. Now they're not even in alphabetical order. It is now organizing your groups when you look at the full list by the ones that have the most conversations. I find that extremely frustrating because sometimes the groups that are the largest ones are not the ones where I'm getting the most traction or business or seeing the most jobs, right? So if I go down here, like for example, Link to Denver, that's a really good group for me because of the activity, it builds my reputation, all the rest of this, it's actually pretty far down on the list. So if you're struggling with, oh, I just wanted to go to my group today, that's why that listing is so weird and different. By the way, anywhere where you see this gear, that means you can manage your group settings. So I can change it specifically for this group. So for example, I can take the logo off my profile. So if you're in a confidential job search and you don't want the entire world to see that you just joined a job seekers group, you can click this off and that logo won't be on your profile anymore. If you don't like how many emails you're receiving, you can manage them here. You can, like, say, for example, on this one, I get them weekly. I don't care about every single conversation, but I want to digest what happened for the week. There's another really important thing here where it says, allow members of this group to send me messages via LinkedIn. This is one way you can maximize a free account. If you share a group in common with somebody, you can send them a message free of charge. That can be an invitation to connect or a regular message, depending on what their privacy settings are. Now, most people on LinkedIn don't ever know to change their settings for a group. So most people in your group, these are all the default settings, by the way, except for the email. The default there is daily. So if they never come in and change this, you can invite them to connect with you, and you don't have to spend an in-mail to do it. How cool is that? That's not new, but it's a good tip to know. All right, so let's get back into where all of our groups are. So over here on the right-hand side, it's again showing me my most active groups. These on the left-hand side, these are some of the most active conversations. So notice we've got here our menu dots again. For any message, we now have options, right? We could report it, like if it's spam or inappropriate. We could reply privately. If you want to talk to the person who sent this individually and you don't want it to be public, you don't have to. You could actually, of course, hit the like button here. Yep, great. But remember, like buttons do nothing to increase your reputation. All it does is build the reputation of the person who wrote it. Okay? Let's go take a look at the groups itself. I'm going to take you to one of our 5280 linked. This is a group that is location-based, meaning that everybody in it is basically in Denver. That's what you can read over here in the group purpose. Denver metro area professionals. Yes, there's 32,000 members in it. That's a good thing. You want to join some large groups because that will increase your network exponentially without necessarily going out and connecting with 2,000 people. If you want to know more about that, I get into that in depth with my LinkedIn 101 webinars. By the way, if you ever decide you want to leave a group, so easy to do this. See where it says I'm a member over here on the side? If I roll over that, it changes to leave. I can just click on that and I'm no longer a part of the group. Down here, there are now the conversations and the jobs. This has changed. Everything in your groups has changed, both visually and functionally. There used to be 4 tabs up here. It used to be discussions, jobs, promotions, members, and search. Now that's all gone. Now you have your conversations, so those were previously your discussions. We have jobs. The members are listed here, but it doesn't look like any way that you can search them, right? That's not true, I'll show you. And here you can invite others. So let's talk about membership for a moment. One of the ways that the groups have changed is that you can now invite people in your network to join a particular group. So all I have to do is click on this. I just have to find the name. And I send this. So if you know somebody in your network that would really enjoy this group as well, you can send that to them. When a person asks to become a member of a group, depending on the group settings, all new memberships have to be approved. It used to be in the past we had open groups that once you saw it, you clicked on it to join, you were a member. That's not the case anymore. Now all members have to be approved. They are all private groups. So whether it's being approved by the group manager themselves or by another one of the group members, depending on the group setting, that's how you actually get in. Now there are also unlisted groups. So if I show you real quick how you find groups, say for example, we'll come here to Denver. So all I did was I clicked on that magic triangle for the groups and I searched up Denver, right? So these are the ones I'm a member of already. That's why it says post over here. The ones down here that I'm not a member of, like the oil and gas community, if I were to hit join for that, I have to wait to be approved by the manager before I'm an actual member. Now, there are unlisted groups now. Unlisted groups mean they're not going to show up in this search at all. The only way you can get into them is if somebody invites you, and the only way you can find them is if you have the exact URL to that group. So why is that? Because sometimes there are close-knit groups that share like industry secrets, professional development, things along these lines, that they don't want it to be open to everybody or even seen by everybody on LinkedIn. So that's the reason why they now offer unlisted groups. Okay? Let's come back to 5280 linked. So I told you that we used to be able to search for the members. You can still do this, although unless I showed you this, you would never ever guess it in a million years. So if I come over here to members, I'm rolling all over the members. I can roll on the individuals, click on their faces. I'm horrible with faces, so that doesn't help me all that much. How do I search these? How do I search these? I'll show you. If you roll over the members number here, the actual population number, and click on that, I can now search through the members. So if I click up here, say for example I want to find all the recruiters, those are the ones that have recruiter in their title. By the way, this has changed, and not in a good way. Remember what I was saying, we've lost some of our functionality. This is one of the areas where we lost functionality. It used to be it would find the search term like recruiter within the profiles as well. It didn't have to be their exact job title, because I know for a fact in this group alone there's about 500 different recruiters. So it's showing me names, yes, but it's not showing me a total number it found in the search, and it didn't broaden behind, beyond their basic title. The other thing that's a problem with this is it doesn't show me how I'm related to them anymore. It used to show me if Catherine was a first, second, or a third degree connection to me. It doesn't do that anymore. It does allow me to send her a message whether we're connected or not, but it's very frustrating. If I want to see how well we're connected, I actually have to search into it. Turns out we're a first degree connection. I wouldn't have known that unless I had clicked on her name. And that means every time you come back, you have to redo your search. So hopefully they're going to fix some of the functionality in there because we lost a lot of it. But for now, our ability to search in the groups has been limited and we don't have as much control. All right, so let's come back here to the discussions. So automatically it falls onto what the conversations are. Obviously up here at the top is where I would start a new one. So within the conversations itself, I'm actually going to go to one of my more active groups because I want to show you what happens when we get lots of comments going on. So if I come over here to my aspiring writers group, these guys like to talk. So let me see. Of course, I pick a bad conversation. That's the thing with these conversations. You can never tell who's writing more and who's writing less. Here's a great example. Okay, because things are trying to be optimized for apps, that means they're streamlining communications, right? The problem with this is when you're looking at the website, it's doing the same thing. So it looks like we've got just a short little paragraph here, but it says show more. If you want to see the rest of what this person is writing, you have to click on this to see it. That is true in all the responses as well. So if you've got a group with good conversations going, you've got to invest more time to make these mouse clicks. Otherwise, if you start replying without looking at that, you could be shooting yourself in the foot because you're not replying to everything that person is saying. You're only replying to the first 3 lines. Make sense? We want quality conversations going in our groups. That's how we build our reputation. That's how we get known. And that's how we get to know others. If this is limited, that hinders our ability to do so in a quick and fast manner. So just make sure that you're looking for that when you're doing it. All right? So, of course, every single one of these things we could reply privately and report. That's not all that new. It's just the way they're doing it looks different. We're also able to add pictures into our replies. So that was something new that they've added as well. There's another thing that's going on in the groups that's a little less obvious, and that's with jobs. So let me come out to one of my groups that I know always has jobs in it. That's my 5280 linked. Where did they go? Link to Denver does it too. So first and foremost, let me clear up a bit of a confusion here. Jobs here in your group are not the same as the jobs up here on the top bar. Those on the top navigation are paid advertisements placed by the companies. So that's just like Indeed or Monster or Career Builder or Dice or whatever you happen to be using. Those are paid advertisements. The jobs posted in LinkedIn are often considered, or in the groups, excuse me, are often considered to be the hidden jobs on LinkedIn. So if I click on this, for example, I can see the full job description. So in this case, like you gotta let the show more. Sometimes they have the full job description here, along with how to apply with the job. In this case, what she did was she made a link to go back to the company's website. So anybody can post a job on LinkedIn groups for free. Most of the time it's done by a recruiter. And most of the times the jobs are pretty quality. It's not like 100% commission sales jobs and things like this. One reason why recruiters will do this, especially like in a niche market group, for example, I'm in a group that's medical device professionals, has about 150,000 members in it. The group's jobs that get posted there all relate to that specialty because the recruiters are looking for something specific in that industry. Okay? The other thing that's important to note with this is, see how this says 1 hour? All of these postings are timed. And every single job discussion like this gets deleted automatically after 14 days. So you can see exactly when it was posted, how long it's been up, and there's not that question. Sometimes you'll find a job on like Indeed that's 30 days old. You don't know if they're really considering candidates anymore. With LinkedIn, you always know that these are relatively current jobs in the groups. Okay? And of course, there's more things that we can do here. We can report, we can reply privately. So if you want to send something directly to this recruiter, you can say, I applied online, I'm very interested in the position, please look for my application, my resume, whatever the case may be, and start building that relationship directly with the recruiter even before they receive your stuff. Cool, huh? So those are some of the major things that are happening with the groups. One thing that is happening as well is posting in the groups from like outside sources. They're just screening them a little bit more. This, for example, is a Colorado Business Magazine. It's a website that I read on a daily basis. I can actually share this article super easy. All I have to do is hit my LinkedIn share button. I can share an update, or I can choose to share it in my groups. All I have to do is just start typing a group name. Brings up the ones I'm actually a member of. I write something brilliant. I write something else brilliant. And then when I hit share, it's going to go out to all the groups I tell it to. The change that's coming with this is if your posting that you're sharing looks too much like an advertisement or too much like a promotion, it's going to be automatically sent to the group's manager for moderation. They don't have a promotions tab on the groups anymore, right? It's just discussions, and jobs. Those are the only options. So if you shared a job from like Indeed, it would automatically be filtered over onto jobs. If it's a outside link that kind of even looks like it might be a sales pitch, it's going to go to moderation. And depending on how quickly a group manager operates, some of them don't log in every day. Depends on how quickly it's going to be approved to go into the stream of the conversation. So that's just something to keep in mind. Obviously, I'm not going to share this garbage. But that's just a real quick example and something to keep in mind whenever you're looking at it. All right. Well, those are the major changes that I wanted to bring to your attention. Does anybody have any questions?
Donna, this is Michael. I don't see any questions coming through yet.
Okay.
But I would like to make sure everybody understands that we will plan to make this webinar available online in the next few days. We're putting it on our website and also broadcasting it on social media for those interested, so you can make sure follow it up with us. We are also on all the social media avenues, LinkedIn, Twitter, and Facebook. And we also have a digital director. His name is Greg Sykes, G Sykes, S-Y-K-E-S, G Sykes at wetrichgroup.com. If you have any questions regarding our social media, and you can reach me via our website or MP, P as in Paul Britton, B-R-I-T-T-O-N, MP Britton at wetrichgroup.com. Again, I would like to thank everybody for participating today. Donna, a lot of great information. Thank you to everybody. And at this particular time, if we don't have any further questions, we'll end the webinar. Again, thank you to everybody.
Yep, and if you need some more contact information, here is the rest of Michael's contact information, including Greg Sykes. And here's the rest of my contact information. Feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn. I'm on Facebook and Twitter as well if you're in the Denver area. I do run a networking group, the Brown Bag Job Search Group.
Hey, Donna, this is Greg Sykes. There actually are several questions showing up. Would you mind sticking around to answer a few of them? And I'll just ask them. I'll read them off.
Yeah, absolutely. No problem.
The first question is, can you explain the difference between paid and free accounts?
Okay, that's a long conversation.
Can you give us the Cliff's Notes?
Sure. So there's a few things that are the differences, all right? So let me just come in here. I'll show you. Yeah, they've changed this part too. But some of the basic things with, here we go. So paid accounts give us more options. Are you guys hearing the echo?
We are.
So I'm not sure what's up with that. It sounds like it took care of itself. So with a paid account, some of the advantages is that you do get some in-mails. So those are ones that messages you can send to anybody on LinkedIn. You don't have to have any kind of group connection or anything to reach out to them. There are the ability to actually have your settings as anonymous when you look at other people's profiles and still see everything else. Not to mention when you're looking back at somebody else's, who's viewed you, you get to see the 90 days worth of people who have viewed you instead of just the last 5 people, which is what you see with a free account. Depending on what level you go up from there, like if you're in a job search one, some of these I think are not necessarily real helpful options, like being a featured applicant. What that means is anytime you apply to a job, it puts your profile at the top of the list. The problem with that is any recruiter is going to resort that list based on what their criteria is. So it's really not that helpful. Applicant insights means it'll show you some of the metrics of the other people who applied. So statistical data, demographic information, it doesn't show you who the actual applicants were. The salary data, it's either going to be a industry comparison if the recruiter does not enter it, but if the recruiter entered it, obviously it will show you that. So those are some of the big things that are the advantages with a paid account. What I usually tell people is, during my LinkedIn 101 webinars, I teach a lot of the tricks to maximize a free account. And then if you're still not getting the results you want, consider doing a paid account at that point.
Okay, there was a second part to that question that said, can you describe all the different security and privacy settings for LinkedIn? We really don't have time to get into that. I do recommend you guys go on to LinkedIn and do some of your own research on that one. That's a really, really big question. The next
yeah, it
question,
is a big question. And
the
other thing with the privacy controls, that's something that I teach with my LinkedIn 101 class. It takes me about 10 to 15 minutes to run through it all. So it's very comprehensive, and I explain what those actually mean, as well as how you can use them to your advantage.
Okay, the next question is, can you review how you post from an external source? Do you cut and paste the URL?
Nope, you don't need to cut and paste the URL. So that would be, again, the quick thing that I did here when I went to the Colorado Business Magazine. You just pull up any article that's out there. Any place that has that blue in button, it's over here as well. You can just click on that, and that takes it here to where we have the sharing screen. So if I wanted to make that an update, or if I wanted to share to my groups, I could do it here, right? And that's where I just push in the top letter, and I can just pick which one of the groups. So these are all groups I'm actually a member of. Okay? I know I went through it pretty fast before, but that's how you do that. If it does not have the sharing button, for example, that it does not have this on it, you can at that point still copy and paste and put it into like your status update here, and it will still pull through.
Okay, the next one, we have another one. Where do you suggest to post an interesting article to individuals, either potential customers or recruiters?
So if it's that same external source, we do have the option here to share to individuals as well. So in this case, all I have to do is just start typing the name. Then I can start picking them out of the list, and I can send it to an individual, and you can change this message as well. If the did not have the share feature here, you would do that as a message. So say I would just write a new message. I'll send something to James again. I'm going to spam him some more today. He's an assistant. He can take it. And then if I just copy and paste the link here, I can send it to him that way as well.
All right, that actually looks like about it. There's several other questions, but they all kind of look like similar versions of the same questions we've asked. They might be a little bit more in depth, but we're actually out of time at this point. So I'm going to go ahead and send it back to Michael.
If there are no further questions, again, we're on all the social media outlets. We will also be at ACHE, SHRM here in Atlanta, the National Supplier Conference in April, and please don't hesitate to call or email or reach out to us. We're here to help. Donna, you're the best as always. I worked with Donna for several years, and she always does a great job. And again, thank you.
You're welcome.
And if that's it from everybody, we'll be holding a quarterly webinar. We'll broadcast that as soon as we know our next webinar date and subject. Have a great afternoon, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.